Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts, sports journalist David Todd, and from SteelersDepot.com, Dave Bryan. Just a couple of Daves, chillin', talking Steelers. Now, here's Dave and Dave.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Dave. He's Dave Bryan of SteelersDepot.com, place to get your latest and greatest Steelers information. And I'm David Todd. It's Season 9, Episode 31. And Dave, we got the Le'Veon Bell situation. We've got all sorts of things going on around the Steelers. But really what's going on is the Steelers need a win in the worst way Sunday when they host the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, you know, with the bye, I keep thinking they got 3 games and then the bye, but it's 2 games and the bye. Obviously the Atlanta game on Sunday and then Cincinnati and then the bye and then Cleveland and Baltimore. After that, we've obviously already talked a little bit about how important this quarter of the season really is now, and who would have thought? You would have hoped before the season got underway that you had kind of a gimme game or a mulligan game or two in this second quarter, but. If you're going to pick, I guess if you were going to pick any game, you'd want the Steelers, or if the Steelers were to go 3-1 in these next 4 games, you would pick them to probably, hopefully lose, the one against the Falcons on Sunday. But with that said, yeah, I mean, they really need to go 4-0 in this next quarter.
Look, if they were to go to 4-0, obviously they'd be right. They'd be the favorite to win the division. First of all, you've just won 4 games, so you're obviously playing some level of good football, and you've got 3 games in the division. So that'd be incredibly helpful to get it going. But starting Sunday, that's what's going to have to happen. And it looks like they're going to be a little bit shorthanded again. A couple guys back, a couple guys not going to be able to go. It looks like.
Yeah, and we will start with the Thursday injury report. And it's overall as a team, it's getting a little bit lengthy, but only a couple guys on here really are the ones that need watching. After sitting out on Wednesday, Ben Roethlisberger, coach's decision, Marquise Pouncey, coach's decision, and who was the other? Joe Hayden, coach's decision, all practiced fully. Chris Boswell, who had his foot stepped on during Wednesday's practiced fully again on Thursday. Mike Hilton, obviously coming off of that elbow injury that forced him to miss the Sunday night game, practiced fully. Looks like he's good to go in there. Now, they added two other names to the injury report on Thursday. Ramon Foster, a coach's decision. That's just a day of rest for him. He did not work on Thursday. I guess we need to watch Marcus Gilbert with a knee. He showed up on the injury report on Thursday as well, too. And then the guys who are dealing with injuries that did not practice, the guys that really need to be watched the most, Darius Hayward-Bay with an ankle, Vince Williams with a hamstring, and Morgan Burnett with the groin. Now, Morgan Burnett practiced on a limited basis on Wednesday. He did not practice on Thursday. Allow me to speculate about Morgan Burnett's groin for a moment, if you will. He's not going to play. He's not going to play Sunday, it doesn't look like. And quite honestly, at this point, with the bye week right around the corner, him and Darius Hayward-Bay, and we'll see what happens with Vince Williams. But quite honestly, those 3 guys we might not see until after the bye week.
So, yeah, and that's a big deal. And we saw Keith Butler's comment today about, Vince Williams and what happened when he left the game and L.J. Fort going in there. And this, I'll raise my hand. I'm excited about this as much as you want to see Matthew Thomas. And we talked about him a good deal on Wednesday's podcast. I've always thought L.J. Fort was an underrated guy, and I never understood last year why he wasn't a guy who got a shot along the way, particularly when Sean Spence looked so poor. Fort played a little bit in the Jacksonville game, and I know people remember one of the missed tackles, which was significant. But he's just a better athlete than Tyler Matakevich, and so it appears that he has passed Matakevich in the depth chart. And if Vince can't go, it looks like it'll be the L.J. Fort show. Now, let's be very clear on this. L.J. Fort isn't the second coming of Ryan Shazier or anybody else. But in terms of the guys they have available to them, Matthew Thomas is probably the best athlete and probably going to be the best football player. But again, If he doesn't know exactly what's going on in there, that's probably not the situation you want to put him in. So we'll see if it's LJ Fort.
Yeah, and if you look at the 11 plays at the end of the you have to put this stuff in context, right? If you look at for what it was at the end of the game against the Ravens. Matthew Marks, he put a film room up on this morning, and I watched the tape on it last night, cutting up some of these GIFs for him. Those specific plays of his. He played well. I mean, he really did play well. Now, quantify that however you want to quantify. Well, yeah, Dave, it was the end of the game, blah, blah, blah. But he really looked like he was reading those plays well, especially against the run. Worked well out. Even though a ball didn't get thrown out in space on one of those, he seemed to move well, flowing out to the edge there to cover. So, it makes no sense at this point, and Kevin Colbert trying to sell us the magic beans, dating back as far back as I guess the combine about Tyler Matakevich and all that stuff with John Bostic. At this point, I mean, even though Matakevich has gotten some reps in practice this week, Fort has as well, Matthew Thomas as well. If Vince Williams is unable to play, I think you could see a combination of those guys, but I would think, or I would hope, that primarily, Fort would get the lion's share of stuff. Maybe it gives you an opportunity to bring Matthew Thomas in, for some of that package that they designed for him. But unless you have an injury at the strong inside linebacker position, is there really a need to put Tyler Matakevich on the field?
I don't think so, but I've never really thought so. I mean, look, we know what a good special teams player he is, and he's going to be, it looks like his career is going to be, like Darius Hayward-Bay. He can probably play a few more years in this league as a special teams player. But, if he's it just comes back to the fact that he was the Bednarik Award winner. I think I said Butkus one time. I think it's the Bednarik Award. He won the award for the best linebacker in college. And obviously this is a productivity award. He's not the best athlete. There's a reason he went in the 7th round. If you're that productive in college, if you're a great athlete, you're going Luke Kuechly. You're going to be in the top, 15 picks in the draft. But, the lack of athleticism is something that holds him back. And, that unfortunately that's never going to change for him.
Here's exactly what Keith Butler had to say. He was asked when Vince Williams went down, Tyler Matakevich couldn't play because no one had a green dot. That was a question. Keith Butler said, well, no. In fact, we felt like we put the next best guy in there, so we put him in, and we could still communicate. And I'm not going to tell you how we communicate, because if we do, I'll tell our opponents how we communicate, so we'll adjust to it. So, that's quite for Keith Butler to come out and say it, to phrase it that way. I mean, that tells you all you need to know right there. Now, how surprised were you that Vince Williams got that contract during the offseason?
Shocked. I have to say I was shocked. Really, I didn't understand it. I think Vince Williams, as I've said, you want Vince Williams to be the worst starter on your defense because he's an average NFL player, in my view. That's a huge compliment, by the way. That's not a knock. It's being an average NFL player is, you're one of the elite players in the world. But that's what he is. And if he were your 11th best starter on defense, your defense would probably be pretty good. I don't understand at all making a longer-term commitment to him.
Yeah, and thankfully, thankfully not a whole lot of guaranteed money tied up in him, and you can. Will he play out this new contract? I mean, we'll see. But a little bit surprising. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting him to get extended during the offseason. That's for sure. Not the end of the world that they did it, but this time next year, is Vince Williams going to be a starter?
Well, that's a good question. Is John Bostic going to be on the team, and is he going to be a starter?
I'd much rather have John Bostic in there at the strong position than I would Vince Williams. All apologies.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I would bet that Vince Williams will be a starter next year, and that doesn't give me great comfort.
Well, and all this assumes no Ryan Shazier, of course, but that's still going to work its way out, and we'll see. We don't know. We think that we know what Matthew Thomas is, but we don't know.
No, I don't think I know. I mean, I didn't watch him play. You've watched a lot more tape than I have. I didn't watch him play at Florida State. So, is he a talent? The level of could he be a talent? I'm not comparing personalities. The Vontae Burfict situation where he had all those off the field issues, and then goes to the Bengals as a UDFA. And becomes, look, I'm sure everybody in Western Pennsylvania rightly hates the guy, and he's gotten all sorts of trouble, but he can be a very good linebacker. I don't know, can Matthew Thomas be that good a player?
Athletically, he's got the athleticism. So can he play at the NFL level? I mean, we might not ever know. Who knows? But definitely got some depth there. One would think with him. They seem to like him. Will he play any against the Falcons if Vince Williams sits that game out? We'll see. But I think we'll see some Fort in this game for sure if Vince Williams does not play. So that's I think that's your injury report right there. Morgan Burnett, boy, what a disappointment so far, right?
You're right, but by not being on the field, for sure.
Right,
sure.
Right.
Hard to have any evaluation of him as a player. He just hadn't been there much.
Right. Missed. This will be probably his third game missed right here, and then Darius Hayward-Bay. You would think that Justin Hunter probably might get depending on how the final helmet or two goes with the offensive lineman or not. You would think that Justin Hunter would dress there. Okay. Shall we take a break after going, or let me go over the Atlanta Falcons injury report real quick for everybody. Some names to watch. Vic Beasley on Wednesday and Thursday was limited. It looks like he's going to play, obviously, but ankle injury that he suffered. I think that was the one during the Bengals game. That could impact him a little bit in this game. Tevin Coleman practiced fully. Devontae Freeman practiced fully. Freeman has missed the last 3 games with that knee injury, and Dan Quinn came out this morning and said he's going to play. The other really names that are worth going over on the Falcons injury report. Mohamed Sanu, I don't know if you saw the play where he looked like he suffered a hip pointer or something. He practiced full on Thursday after being limited on Wednesday, so it looks like he's going to go. Grady Jarrett injured an ankle and a knee. Now he's their starting defensive tackle. He injured himself against the Bengals. He's not going to play against the Steelers. And it doesn't look like Justin Bethel, who was inactive last week, is going to play. And I think that Julio Jones is on there as limited with a hand and ankle. But obviously we would expect Julio Jones to play. So I think the big news with the Falcons as far as that goes is Devontae Freeman looks like he's going to play for the first time in a while against the Steelers. Grady Jarrett's not going to play. And we'll see how that injury affects Vic Beasley during the game.
So what are the Steelers trying to do to slow down this Falcons offense?
Oh, wow.
You blitzing Ryan? You're not blitzing Ryan? What's the look? We've talked about how disappointing the defense has been. I think we probably have not talked enough about how disappointing the front three have been. I mean, Cam Hayward got all the accolades at the end of last year when he actually didn't make the Pro Bowl, but he ended up making first team All Pro or second, I can't remember, but he was named All Pro. And that, you don't get higher accolades than that. But he's not playing anywhere close to that level. And Stephon Tuitt's been more or less invisible. I mean, one of the things about this defense is we've talked about is, they got the bookend guys in place and Hargrave a 3rd round pick. And we expected them to be, as good as any, maybe those guys, none of those guys are obviously Aaron Donald or J.J. Watt or even the kid in Cincinnati. I'm drawing a blank on what's his name, the kid from Florida who's been unbelievable, tore his knee up. But anyway, the point being that. You mean
Billings?
No, the All Pro for the Bengals, the inside defensive tackle.
Geno Atkins.
Geno, right? Sorry, I love Geno, but none of those guys are maybe that elite. But they're supposed to be good football players. They're supposed to be Pro Bowl caliber ends, and they have not played anywhere close to that to this point.
Well, look, I mean they they've had some pressures at times, but it just hasn't been enough. I'm not sure. You asked how do you slow down and do you blitz Matt Wright? He's so smart. I mean, and the Steelers don't, like it or not, the Steelers don't do a good job. You know who does do a good job of disguising their stuff is the Ravens. We just the team we just saw the Steelers play.
We didn't talk about that play where they lined the offensive lineman out wide and they put the eligible guy in next to the center. We didn't talk about how innovative that was.
Yeah, exactly. And Joe Flacco talked about that after the game and said, during practice they could never get that guy clean off the line of scrimmage through all that. And it just so happened, of course, against the Steelers, he just they open up the gate for him and let him walk right on out there. So that's something that they've evidently been working on, but they never could really during practices get him loose from the interior of line of the scrimmage there with him. But anyway, back to Matt Wright. I don't think he's a guy that you want to blitz, a lot in this game. And I'll tell you one thing I don't want to do is I wouldn't play a lot of cover 3 against him either. The Steelers haven't been effective running that period because people, nowadays what you're seeing scheme-wise around the NFL, these coordinators are getting so creative when it comes to these zone busters, and even, you go back to the opening touchdown the Steelers gave up, against the Ravens on Sunday night, which, by the way, that ended up being quarter half coverage on there. But the way they ran that with John Brown splitting both Cameron Sutton and Joe Hayden confused both those guys. Running a guy right between them, and then, they both looking at each other. Well, I got him, you take him. And that's exactly what happened. You go back and you look at all 22 on that, and the Crabtree who stopped, broke off his route, underneath there. As soon as that ball's in the air, Michael Crabtree has his hands in the air.
So that's really good play design, and it's really that is a basic thing for a defense to test the defense. That is a great way to test. You go and you have the inside guy run the sideline post, and the other guy stays underneath. And like you said, Crabtree's there. He knows what's going on. And that's just straight finding out whether the defense knows what they're doing and if they're communicating well. And in that situation, they both got to run with that guy first. I don't know. I felt like it was Sutton's guy, but I don't profess to be certain on that.
Well, you can be, because he split them. You can split the blame. Somebody's got to when you're talking quarter half. Once he's right. When you got a quarter half situation, it's supposed to be inside the numbers. You're supposed to the outside guy, the outside quarter takes the outside the numbers, and the other guy takes the from the inside numbers. Well, if you look, way it kind of splits there, and he's kind of angling that route anyway, right? So he's going through both zones past 12 yards past the line of scrimmage. It's a great play design, right? And it is good to see. They evidently saw. I tried to go back through the Browns game, because normally when you see something like that run, it's normally something that a team has observed on tape like 2 or 3 games ago, and want to see how you adjust to it. I just didn't have time to go back and look at our charting compared to what's on tape to see if maybe I could find a play that maybe they picked up on that. But that's why offensive coordinators are paid to do that. They're paid to try to test and see how defenses react to certain things, and Hayden and Sutton did not react well to that. They both, you can get the still frame, and I think you and I talked about this the other day. They're both looking. There's a point there where it looks like they're escorting. They're both on each side of John Brown, all turned
3
back,
steps behind him.
All turned back, looking, like they saw a car wreck or something. And the age-old thing goes, if you're even, you're leaving, right? And he was gone at that point. So little things like that you have to clean up. And back to my original point, man, you watch some of this all 22 around the league, and you watch some of the things the Rams are doing, and the Chiefs and all like this. The cover 3 busters and the zone busters that they're doing makes you want to almost just line up and play some cover 1 man and let the chips fall where they may. So obviously you can't do that. You have to mix up your coverages, but they got to do a better job at disguising them pre-snap.
Would you play any man against these guys?
Oh, yeah, I think you have to.
It's just such a recipe. I like playing man as well, but it just feels like such a recipe to get torched.
I mean, I would obviously bracket. I would bracket Julio. I'm not going to let Julio get 265 on me.
Yeah.
I'd much rather force Ridley to be the one to have the 130, 150-yard game against me, I mean, just keep a lid on this thing, just don't. And look, there's a great article from, when was it? December, I think it was December January of 2017, I guess, around playoff time with the Falcons and all. I think Matt Bowen on ESPN broke down a lot of the plays and the route combinations that the Falcons like to run it all. That's a very good read. And they still run a lot of that there, and you're going to see a lot of that as well too. I mean, they've got now 3 very accomplished receivers. Oh, and I tell you what, just go look at the Bengals game this past weekend and watch what they did in spreading the Bengals out there, and they had Hooper opened in the red zone for a very easy touchdown in that game as well too. So, I tell you what they need to do. They need to tackle the catch, because they're going to give up some receptions in this game. You're not going to shut down that offense, that passing game.
What's Ryan throw for? 325 over or under?
Oh, I'll take the over on that.
Yeah, I think I'd take the over on that too. Yeah, look, if Devonta Freeman is healthy and he comes back and he's gouging him on the inside and catching balls out of the backfield.
You know what? I take that back, David. I'm going to take the under there, because with they're in the same situation as the Steelers are when you look at the defenses of both these teams. Even Quinn came out and said today, we blew a couple of coverages, some bad. We had one half of the defense. I mean, you could read the quote sheet, block out, what do they call it, redact all the names?
Yeah, redact the name up front.
Right, and you think it was Keith Butler, although there probably wasn't a dadgum in it. But okay. But if you redacted the names and blacked out everything, some of the comments that he made, you'd swear he's talking about the Steelers defense in there. Poor communication, 2 of them blown coverages, one half of the defense running one thing, the other half of the defense running the other thing. Now, a little bit of an excuse there when it comes to that defense is they've had a lot of injuries on that side of football. Deion Jones and of course both of their starting safeties. So so I guess it's a little bit more forgivable on their end of things. But I guess back to my point here, offensively, when they run the football, they like to run the outside zone. They'll obviously run some inside zone. They'll run a little bit of power and pulling the guard in there. Do they want their defense on the field a lot? No. So I think both these teams, because they're so fearful to put their put their defense out on the field, I think both offenses are going to come out here trying to run the football down the other team's throat, and I wouldn't be surprised. Do you have a first half total on this?
I would assume it's right there at 28 or 29, right?
I bet it goes at least 7 points under the first half total, because of these two teams getting in the ring and just walking circles around each other for a little bit, because I can imagine it going that way. Now, obviously, the second half, I think things will open up a little bit, but I would expect both these teams to come out in this game and try to run the football. And I think both teams should be able to run the football against each other. We just talked about Garrett being out. Jarrett being out for the Falcons up front on their line. That's going to hurt them, especially when you don't have a guy like Deion Jones up the middle of that defense. Now that Riley kid out of LSU, he leads the team in tackles and all, but that's one guy in that defense that I really try to stress is their middle linebacker there in this game. And I think both teams can run the football against each other. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how both these teams open up.
I'll be shocked if both teams come out and run the football. I really will. Their passing game, the Falcons' passing game has been so good. They know the Steelers are capable of potentially scoring a lot of points. I mean, I would just go for the jugular from the get-go and just start winging it around the lot.
Both teams should be able to throw on each other, that's for sure. Especially if you can get one of the teams to pull a safety up to help against the run, I really think that both teams, and look, make no mistake about it. I think we've got a few emails. Is it Ben's elbow? Is it this, that, and the other? Ben's just is not throwing the ball to AB well at all. I mean, that's it. I mean, that and his deep ball is off for whatever reason, but his deep ball was off starting in week 1. So, does the elbow, does maybe his elbow, maybe being sore or whatnot play a part in that? I just don't think he's throwing the football very well, plain and simple. And I mean, if there was ever a game, if he struggles connecting with AB in this game, Houston, we have a problem.
I'm sure you saw this, Dave. You asked the other day about how would you describe Ben, and this isn't a perfect description, but I got a chuckle out of me. One of our listeners emailed us, and it's Jordan, and he said, you take Blake Bortles' arm and Peyton Manning's legs and slap them on Aaron Rodgers' body. You blindfold him for 2.6 seconds, but you have the decency to put him behind a good pass-blocking O-line. Right before you rip the blindfold off, you scream, not whisper, they're blitzing 6 and there's 2 safeties deep every time. Despite the coverage, punch him in the ribs when he throws it. Punch him again in the same spot if the receiver wasn't on the same page. Imagine watching that 40 plays a game. I thought that was quite hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty colorful, right? I mean, that's a lot more colorful than I could be kind of describing it there. I mean, you name it when it comes to the Steelers offensively in this game. I mean, they should be able to throw the football. But, if you're able to establish any type of a running game whatsoever early, it's going to make it even that much more. I mean, are both teams going to come out and just try to take away the pass from each other? I mean, if you count the numbers, and you're standing at the line of scrimmage and you got them outnumbered, pre-snap, you're going to run the football in several of these situations. You'd be stupid not to if you have the numbers that you like.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, when Atlanta's putting up the kind of, video game numbers they've been putting up, well, I wouldn't change the formula too much, but, having Freeman back helps and they can do some different things. I mean,
how nice would it be to watch the Steelers offense? Tomlin, of course, talked about this, and it's been a bugaboo all season, and seems more times than not, probably, if you go back through the years here with the Steelers offense. How nice would it be to watch like a 9 or 10 play drive? The Steelers' first drive, just rhythmically, almost as if it was that 2-minute drill the other day against
Tampa. That was the best drive of the season.
How nice would it be to watch an opening drive go something like that? And then because your defense can't hurt you if it ain't out there.
That's for sure. That is for sure. So the Steelers, how do you attack? Look, you've got a Falcons team that's been. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Their defense has been awful. So I don't think I'd come out running the ball. I'd be winging it all the time if I were Randy Fichtner.
Yeah, you can run some Mills concepts in there and really stress the middle of the field. I mean, the guy like McDonald ought to have a field day in this game as well, too, because they're going to bracket AB. At some point, I mean, the way Juju has performed out of the slot to date through these first 4 games, I mean, at what point do you have to start dedicating more to him, right? I mean, you just can't let him run against some of these zones, second level type stuff, the Y cross and all that. And look, I mean, make no mistake about it. And I don't know what it is about Ben and play action, but I sure would like to see a little bit more of that in this game too. And I understand later on in games that look, I mean, you're not a threat to run, so why would you use play action? Yeah, I get all that, but that's another reason why you might want to try to run early in this game as well too. Ben is still and he always has been. He's been so good off play action. It just makes you wonder at times why they don't, why he doesn't use it more. And now obviously, look, a couple of times this year they've gotten down 14-0 or 14-3, and they had to kind of get off script in a hurry there. What happens if they can jump on Atlanta right out of the chute with a 9-play drive, 7-0, and then maybe hold Atlanta to a field goal in their first drive, and then go back down and score again. You get Atlanta in a situation where they have to start doing some of the things that you've been having to do early in games. You can maybe get this thing to snowball on them in a hurry.
Yeah, that's the optimistic view. Get some stops, and for better or worse, people can I'm not trying to again suggest the Steelers defense has played well, but they went 3 quarters there without giving up a touchdown after that first quarter.
How worried are you about this offense right now?
I'm worried.
Why?
Because Ben's not playing that well. I mean, Ben's playing erratically. I shouldn't say there are times he's played well, but if Ben is erratic, if he has a bad half every week, that's not good enough.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely hasn't put together a full game yet, right?
Nope.
So,
nope.
I mean, if there was ever a week for that to happen at home against the Falcons and that defense, I mean, he should this should be a 400 burger, right?
You would think both these guys are watching the game film during the week here and just kind of, sleeping like babies, getting ready. Can't. It's like Christmas. Can't come soon enough.
I'm not ready. I'm not worried just yet about this. I'm obviously worried about him not some of these throws to AB, but it's not like he's not making throws elsewhere on the field, right? I mean, if it was his elbow this or this, that, and the other, or if we could really pick out something on tape in regard to AB, if we could really point out something on tape with, they sure do miss Martavis, that kind of thing, that would be one thing. But I just think when it comes to AB in particular, he's just not throwing the football well, or miscommunication there or something. I think this is a week that it clicks. I will be worried if they don't hang 30 plus on Atlanta. Yes, I'll be worried. And obviously if they lose this game, then there's going to be a lot of reason to panic if you're a fan of this team or cover this team.
Yeah, they're going to be.
What about their side of the ball? I mean, Atlanta really needs this game, don't they? I mean, both teams really need to win this game.
Yeah, that's why I asked the Orlando, if is the loser done? And he kind of said yes for the Falcons. He said, that with that division, with New Orleans and Carolina, and actually Tampa looking, who knows what Tampa is? Who knows? But yeah, they're 1-4. Sure, they're hating life. I mean, losing football games at home on the last play of the game when you give up a touchdown pass of more than 10 yards, that is a tough way to lose a game.
Yeah, I mean, they almost look like the NFC version of the Steelers, right?
They have, yeah. Right, so the Falcons, I mentioned, the Falcons setting all sorts of records. They first team ever to score, what was it, 35 points at home twice and not turn the ball over and lose. And they became the first team. There's one stat they did. It's only happened 4 times since like 1980, and it's happened to the Falcons twice this season.
Yeah, I think Scott how do you pronounce his name?
Yeah. Kizmir.
I think he has.
Kizmir.
I think he has the stats. I'll try to pull that up here in a little bit here while we're talking and all. But look, I don't know what you're going to get defensively from the Steelers right now. I mean, obviously you would think it's too bad they're not getting Burnett back for this game, right? But, I mean, getting Hilton back will help to some degree. But, I mean, how much are you really going to have Hilton on a guy like, Julio? I mean, you might be able to get him on Ridley, obviously, at different times in this game, depending on where he lines up during this game. But, look, I mean, I'd much rather have Hilton than not having Hilton. I mean, I think he's going to help to some degree. Here's a stat from Scott. Since 1940, teams scoring 36 plus points at home with 0 turnovers are 402-4.
Right.
The Atlanta Falcons are 0-2 since last week when doing that. Half the losses are Falcons losses now. So that's quite a stat right there.
All right, Dave, on that happy note, how about a word from our sponsor? Okay. We got a little more breakdown on Steelers Falcons, or you want to get into some picks for the week?
I mean, look, I think we've torn this thing up pretty good right now. Let's get into the picks here.
All right. Well, let's get into mybookie.ag, and
there's a big fight coming up.
Yeah, how about that? You gonna watch that?
They get me all the time. I cannot not buy those.
Seriously? They're gonna get you?
Seriously, they always get me. Anything they get me. It's like, here's my money.
Oh man, they're loving you. How about HBO dropping boxing this week? I grew up on that.
Yeah, I didn't read that story on that.
Yeah, so they're getting out of the boxing business. So no more Max and Howard Letterman and Jim Lampley and all that. But hey, watching football is fun, but it's more entertaining when you have some action on the games. You've heard us talking about MyBookie for weeks, and some of you are still on the sidelines. Whether you're an expert or a rookie, you should be betting with mybookie.ag. If you're the kind of guy who likes to bet a little bit, and we use the example, like you want to play roulette because you can bet, $1 and you can win a ton of money. Well, you can get on a parlay. If you pay a 3-team parlay, you bet $100, you can win $600. So you got all sorts of things you can do in it. It's not just football. We've been talking about this MMA. Conor McGregor into the octagon Saturday, his first UFC fight in 2 years. You can bet all sorts of things. You know how this works. By the way, one of my favorite or least favorite stories is a buddy of mine. We went to a fight, Lennox Lewis fight in Madison Square Garden. So that takes you back about 20 years. And I think he had like the ninth round knockout, and the guy didn't answer the bell for the 10th, and he didn't get paid because he got through the 9th round. That's a bummer.
That's a bad beat.
Yeah, it's a bad beat. So you can bet on that. You can bet whether Khabib has a first round KO, whatever. We recommend these guys. We trust them. You'll be happy with them all season. MyBookie, they've been in business for years. Great online reviews. The mobile site's really easy to use. You can do in-game. And if you're on the sidelines, now's the time to get in there because they're still going to match your deposit dollar for dollar if you get in there on your first deposit up to $1,000. You log into MyBookie right now, and they'll double your money. Use the promo. Oh, they'll double your money, by the way. That's what I said. Up to $1,000, promo code TERRIBLE. You play, you win, you get paid. Use the promo code TERRIBLE. And, you get some action on the games, makes it a little more interesting for some people. So that's what we got. We got mybookie.ag. Check it out. They got this promo still going, but they're probably going to pull that in the next week or two. All right.
Who's gonna win? McGregor going to take him down?
Sure. I got to say I know nothing about MMA, so give me McGregor.
All right, I'll take McGregor as well. Too hard to bet against him.
All right. You got the first one there for me?
Let's see what we have here. We have tonight, and by the way, we're recording this Thursday night. Dave's got to fly out to New York City on Friday, so we're recording this later, right before the games get started on Thursday night. New England, this moved in the last hour here. New England at home Thursday night, hosting the Colts -11. It was a 10.5 about an hour ago.
Yeah, that's not enough. That's not enough. Let's go with the Pats
Yeah, I don't think that's enough of a point. The Colts got a ton of injuries, man, a ton of injuries, and that's probably why this thing's jumping. I buy the hook, buy the hook, but I'll take the Patriots minus 11.
We got the Ravens going to Cleveland, and that 3-point line, Baker Mayfield at home. This is an interesting game. I mean, Steeler fans are going to be watching the Steeler game, but this should be a fun one, and it's a big game. First of all, if Cleveland wins, then all of a sudden they've announced that they're in contention to compete for the division. I really believe that. If they beat the Ravens at home, then you get it. I mean, look, I'm already taking the Browns seriously, but if Baker Mayfield plays well and they win this game, if the Ravens win on the road, as most people will still think they should, then they continue the trend and another division win puts them in a great spot. Dave, I'm going to take the dog. I'm going to take the Browns getting 3 at home.
Yeah, they're going to confuse the heck out of the rookie in this game. In my opinion, the rookie's going to look like a rookie in this one. So give me the Ravens lay the 3 on the road.
All right, Jags at Kansas City, Chiefs at home -3. Till I see them lose, I'm gonna keep laying the points. Jags, good defense. This should be a fun matchup as well. Great game Monday night for the kid again. Great comeback.
This should be a good game to watch. I mean, definitely they got a little bit of a blueprint maybe from Denver, right? And not that the Jaguars need a lot of blueprints, but I bet Kansas City finally gets a loss here. I'm going to go Jaguars plus the 3 on the road.
Okay, Josh Allen at home getting 5 with the Titans. Don't sleep on the Titans, huh? All of a sudden, Mike Vrabel's got him playing some decent football. The Titans might be the team in the NFL, one of the 2 or 3 teams in the NFL that I know the least about or I see the least, certainly. But I'm going to take them -5 because the Bills. Who knows what to make of them? Great game in Minnesota to get smoked last week. Yeah, give me Tennessee.
I'll take another road dog. I'm on these road dogs. Titans -5.
Giants +6.5 in Carolina. Give me the Panthers.
Give me another. I'm going on the road, Dave. I'm taking a road trip this week. Give me the Giants plus the 6.5 on the road against Carolina.
Jets at home or pick them with the Broncos. Who you got there?
Give me another road dog. Give me the Denver Broncos on the road to beat rookie Sam Darnold.
All right, I'll take the Jets to make it interesting. Pack goes to Detroit. How about this one at a pick? Aaron Rodgers not pleased with their 20-0 win or 19, whatever it was, last week. The Lions at home, or are the Lions a good team now at home?
You know what? Packers got a lot. Their top 3 wide receivers, I don't think practiced today. They're hurting at wide receiver, and one of those, I think it's Cobb might not play, and there's question now whether or not Adams will play, and Geronimo Allison's got a concussion. Who's going to play wide receiver for them?
Aaron's going to throw it to himself.
Yeah. If he's able to figure out how to do that, maybe he'll tell AB AB can throw it to himself. Give me the Lions at home.
Yeah, I got the Lions as well. I'll take them. Bengals -5.5 at home against the Dolphins. I think the Bengals might be better than we're giving them credit for, but I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Man, I think the Bengals are a lot better than what I was going to give them, what I started off the season giving them credit for. Give me Cincinnati at home, lay to 5.5.
Chargers -5 against the Raiders. I'll take the Chargers. There's a lot of 5s this week. That means Vegas is still uncertain about what's going on with some of these teams.
Yeah, I'll take the Chargers and Phillip Rivers at home, lay to 5.
Arizona goes to San Francisco +4. Josh Rosen looked a little better. Give me the Niners. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, he's had a couple. He's been a victim of a few drops. But with that said, 49ers. I'll take the 49ers at home, -4.
All right, the Eagles -3 at home against the Vikings. Give me the Eagles.
Boy, who are the Vikings this year? If they get we'll find out this week, I think, who the Vikings are, coming off of a smarting against, who was it, the Rams.
That means that loss to Buffalo at home is a big loss for them. You got to win games like that because this is a tough schedule here, getting the Rams and the Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Give me the Vikings on the road. I think Philadelphia wins this, but I think the Vikings make this a 1-point game. Give me the Vikings +3 on the road against Philly.
Rams -7.5 on the road in Seattle. I did not read the Sports Illustrated article, but I guess Russell Wilson is not particularly beloved in that Seahawks locker room.
I did not read it either. Give me Aaron Donald and Goff and all them Gurley minus 7.5.
I got the Rams as well. Sunday night we got Dallas at Houston. Houston -3. It's showtime for the Texans. They better win this game. But I'm going to take the Cowboys +3. I'll be rooting for the Texans though.
Yeah, I don't know which way. I'm leaving this one alone, but I'll go with you know what? I'll hop back on the road. Give me the I have zero confidence. Give me the Cowboys +3 on the road.
You won't be leaving it alone Sunday night, I bet. Monday night, Washington +6.5 at New Orleans. Give me the Saints in a high-scoring game, 34 to 27.
Yeah, you're probably right about Sunday night. I can't stay away from them. Oh, wow. Give me the Saints. Lay those points at home against the Redskins.
All right, Heinz Field, 1 o'clock. Chris Boswell kicking it off because the Steelers defer again. I don't know if you want to be deferring in this game. Might want to score first. Steelers -3 against the Falcons. I don't know what to make of this. I really thought the Steelers would put it together last week and I said win comfortably against the Ravens. I love the over 58. I'm going to take the Steelers because their season is, for both these teams, their season's on the line. So maybe that doesn't make any difference. But give me the Steelers 36 to 35.
I know better than
So I'm taking the Falcons, I guess. But Steelers 36 to 35.
I know better than to pick the Steelers in this game, right? I mean, zero confidence here. I just think they outlast them here. When's the last time have the Steelers ever won or lost 3 consecutive games at Heinz Field?
Probably not.
I mean, they got to straighten this ship out, right? I mean, if they got to win this game. I'll go ahead and look. I'm gonna take the under on this one as well too, just by a little bit. I'm gonna say Steelers get the 30 burger, 30 to 26. So I have the Steelers winning by 4, covering that 3 and the under as well too. Put all that and
under 3-team parlay.
And the money line. Put the -170.
All right, you get the parlay. You got everything going.
I put
mybookie.ag.
Lay it all out there. Too bad I ain't got a house to bet anymore. But
yeah, exactly.
You lost it for me. But
yeah,
okay. Wow, what else is going on around the league? What about tonight? Tonight's a heck of a sports night, right? We got the Patriots and the Colts. We got the Pens and the Capitals. What's going on?
So we got some baseball going on.
What's going on with the baseball? Who's playing tonight on that?
That's a good question. It's we got a national. Yeah, you know what? Let's see who's going on that. I think it's the. Let me say it's the Dodgers, right?
I haven't even looked at that today.
Oh, Milwaukee and Colorado are playing right now, and we got Atlanta and the Dodgers at 8:30. Right, and Cleveland, Houston. No, that's tomorrow. Cleveland, Houston at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon.
And then we got the boxing. The MMA on Saturday night as well too. Okay, I think that about does it. You and I will get back together on Monday. Boy, sure would be nice to start talking about a win, right? It seemed like we haven't done that enough, obviously, so far this season. Hopefully, we'll do that on Monday. You can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow David Todd on Twitter at David M. Todd. You can follow the show at Terrible Podcast. You can email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do and you want to donate to the cause, go to SteelersDepot.com, hit that donate button, upper right navigational bar. That'll allow you to donate, kind of on a monthly basis if you'd like to work out something like that as well, too, if it's better for your budget that way. Also, we're continuing to get signups on the ad-free version of Steelers Depot as well, too. Go to SteelersDepot.com, hit the ad-free button, and for $25, we'll give you a ad-free version of the site, and that carries over on into mobile and everything for you as well, too. So, David, until Monday.
Thanks for working around my schedule. I appreciate it. As always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Dave.